It was like within pennies of my predicted end of week price. Ding ding. All right. SPX closing the day 41.17.43. That might change in a second. ES got a pretty sharp bounce there at the end of the day. Probably sell side imbalance, but anyway, VIX up on the day 2.8%, gold up 1%, silver up 1.3, oil up 2.36. Dollar down, yen up, and the 20 and 30 year, the only options that close the end of the day, the only yields that close the end of the day to the upside, up 14 and 20 points each. So putting a lot of pressure on yields into the end of the day here, but still able to defend their 4100 position. Correlation up a lot, quite a lot today. Almost back to May and March levels from earlier this year. Well, May levels from earlier this year. So we're getting that breakdown and dispersion. Volatility, the forward curve of volatility is still slightly positive despite the best efforts to keep it down. And bond volatility fairly flat. But I think odds are next week we probably see a continuation of downside, especially if there's any kind of conflict escalation over the weekend. If we don't get any escalation of the conflict over the weekend, then I would say that there's a pretty good chance. Well, actually, I don't know. If there's some sort of like ceasefire or something, we might see some upside next week. But that doesn't look like it's happening, so I'm not super concerned with that. This is very bearish, and on the weekly, we're closing fairly close to a long-term resistance here. This is at 4106. There's a little bit more downside open here, down to like 4050, but on the monthly, I think our trend is continuing, and there's still quite a bit more room here to drop. And volume for this month is now up over the prior two. I would imagine that we're going to start to see fear setting in, especially over the weekend, with yet another down day on SPX. I think if we lose 4100, we're going to start to see vol control destabilize. BOJ rate decision tonight? Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. Okay, so that could crash the market. I don't think they're gonna do anything big though, probably. I'm not streaming until then. That's ridiculous. I think if they take any action, which I don't think they'll do until the Ministry of Finance has done everything in their power to stabilize yen. But if they do take any action, it'll probably be increasing YCC, which will be super bearish, but it won't be as bad as them pegging to the dollar. Monday night is BOJ? God damn it, Dork. Okay, so we don't have to worry about that then over the weekend. Good. The Jenner says, I love that pigeon whale thing. Cuckoo. Exactly. Future degen in the making. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you all Sunday morning or afternoon, 12:30 p.m. for the members stream. And I'll have Pickles Picks out Sunday night. The rest of you, I'll see you Monday. Have a good weekend, everybody. Later.